everyone, and welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we are going to bring you the ultimate guide to traveling through Baja, specifically in van life.
Yeah, this was our first time here and we learned a lot along the way. Some things we were super anxious about, and now I realize there really was no reason to be so anxious, and some things we wish we would have known before we came. So we're hoping to share all of that with you, so if you're planning your first trip, you can have these tips to go by. If this is your first time here, I'm Alicia.
And I'm Rachel.
And we are traveling our van across the country as we figure out what it means to
go slow down. First topic we want to cover is getting your paperwork ready before you even cross the border.
Yeah, so you need a few things before you cross. You need insurance, car insurance. So we went through Baja bound. It was really easy. You could just do it right online and you get your quote, but it is best to have a printout of it. So we had to go to Staples the night before. We also made copies of all of our important paperwork, our passports, our licenses, the dog's paperwork, just so that we had that all on hand, and also the title to our vehicle and registration. Those are things that you're supposed to have. We didn't get asked for any of that, but it's like one of those things, if you don't have it, that's when they'll ask you for it. So we just made sure we have a folder with all of the important things, and that way we also could put our passports away and not worry about having to give those to anybody throughout our trip.
Crossing the border was a lot easier than we expected it to be. I stood in the van with the dogs. The border patrol asked Alicia a few questions, and then she had to go inside.
So when you cross the border, you have to get something called an FMM if you're staying for more than 7 days. It was really quick. We did need cash because he claimed that his credit card machine wasn't working, which is a pretty common claim. And so we actually were able to pay that in dollars. The exchange rate wasn't great, but you can pay it in pesos or dollars. But overall, it was pretty simple. We crossed at Los Algodones, which is a smaller crossing. And so we were in, I would say it took us 15 minutes max for the crossing time. We stayed right at the casino right before the border, and we were in very, very quickly.
Yeah, we left very early that morning too, because we just didn't want to be backed up by any traffic.
I was so anxious, but there was really no need. It was super simple.
Another thing you need to know is that there is very limited cell service, so you have to download Google Maps.
Yeah, and you can basically download the entire peninsula in Google Maps or offline, and then it'll kind of route you. I would also recommend that you actually look at the map before you start driving too, because sometimes Google Maps will do some crazy stuff, and that actually happened to us when we crossed. The route we wanted to take made us go highway to highway to highway to highway. And at one point it took us down some crazy back road, and there was no road there. And so just preview your route, make sure it makes sense, and kind of have it in your head. I think we had to go from the 5 to the 4 to the 3 to the 2, or the 2 to the 3 to the 4 to the 5. And we should have just had that written down somewhere, kind of old school. You used to have to print out MapQuest. Think about it that way.
Crossing the border is not the only time that you might need to show your papers.
Yeah, so there are these military checkpoints throughout the peninsula, and again, something I was super anxious about, but we really didn't have any issues. You go through, sometimes they ask you for your passport. We gave them a copy. There are reports that sometimes they ask for that FMM that you got, which would be in your passport, but we haven't been asked that so far. We're on our way back up. And sometimes they want to look in your van real quick. I think that happened once, but they didn't even get inside. So far, I mean, obviously we're not doing anything wrong either, or traveling with anything we shouldn't be, but for whatever reason I get so anxious every time. I'm like, Rachel, and they've for the most part been very nice, and just waved us through or said hello, asked where we were coming from and where we were going, and let us on our way. So don't be freaked out. If anything, they're there to keep you safe. And that is something I felt very safe in Mexico, and so just keep that in your mind. Don't listen to all the horror stories. It's good to know that happens, but reality was they were all fine.
Yeah. Speaking about wild animals, there were a lot of stray dogs, something that I did not anticipate. So you just have to, when you're driving, just be on the lookout for dogs crossing the street. When we were walking our dogs, we had to just make sure that there weren't a lot of dogs in the area, so we felt safe walking our tiny dogs. And be careful where you step, because that means there is just poo lying around.
That is definitely a thing. Overall, though, we found Baja to be super dog friendly, and really enjoyed being able to have our dogs down here. If you want to learn more about having dogs in Baja, you can watch our video from last week. We'll link it here, and you can go through the whole experience of the things that pros and cons of bringing your dog to Baja.
Alicia told me that the conditions of the road were not great, and I didn't know what to expect, but some of the roads that we drove down, I mean, in the van, you felt every bump and lump that we went over.
Yeah, but honestly, I think, again, I try to under promise, over deliver, and I think I was anticipating actually worse roads. So the highways were actually not too bad. There were times, from time to time, big potholes, so you have to be careful of those. And there are these speed bumps, and they do, for the most part, they're marked. I think there were one or two that didn't have a marking, and they just kind of came up on them. I think we got surprised by one. They're called topes, so you'll see signs that are topes are coming, and they're in the middle of the highways,
and they're yellow too, so they kind of stick out, but sometimes that yellow paint is
gone. Yeah, they're supposed to be yellow. Not all of them were actually yellow. So that was, I actually thought the highways themselves were better than I expected. It was the roads, and some spots, like when we went to Cabo Pulmo, there was no road. The road just ended, and you just are on dirt road, and then you're on this washboard road, and those get like really rough, and you don't really know on the map like when that's going to happen. So if you do some research on iOverlander and things, usually you kind of know it's coming, but those were definitely pretty rough.
Also, driving through the mountains on a single lane highway
with no shoulder
can be a little scary, especially when you encounter big 18-wheelers. Sometimes they need to slow down because they have to get around a curve. One of the things that we learned was that when the 18-wheelers are going really slow, they'll put on their left blinker if it is safe to pass them. And we didn't know that at the beginning, but we learned that pretty quickly when people would start to pass, and we did not. And
they would even, like, if you start to kind of go out and they notice, they'll put your right blinker on to show you it's not safe yet. So that was really helpful. Not all of them did that, but it was really helpful when they did.
Another thing that you need to know about driving are the stop signs and where they are.
Yeah, there are stop signs in like really random places, including, again, on the highway when you go into towns. And sometimes they're really hard to see. Like, they'll be all the way on the right, like on the sidewalk. I definitely ran a couple of stop signs while we were here, or like near ran them. I'm grateful that we haven't gotten pulled over. Let me knock on this wood. For the couple of times that I've accidentally ran stop signs, but that is something that people have said happens, especially in the bigger cities. But again, that's what happens in our country too, so I'm not here to complain about it.
Yeah, and most of the drivers out here, they just roll through the stop signs. Don't do that.
That's the thing. It's like you can't follow what the Mexican people do, because they see those, especially if you're in a van or an RV, like you're a target. So just follow all the rules. Go the speed limit, stop at the stop signs.
So our last tip about driving is to watch out for the wild animals, and don't drive at night.
Yeah, we saw a few different dead large animals, like literally a dead cow on the side of the road that somebody had run into, and like your car is going to be totaled after that. So the biggest tip is don't drive at night, but even during the day, just be careful, because we've seen cows crossing the road in the middle of the day, goats, horses, all kinds of animals. I think we even saw a dead coyote at one point. So that's just something to be aware of. Some people will like flash their lights to let you know that something's coming up in the road. We just didn't drive at night because we wanted to keep it safe, and we drove the speed limit, especially when we saw the cow crossing signs.
So another thing that you need to know when coming out to Baja is that the food is delicious. We've had some of the best fish tacos. We also had just great seafood. Just almost every place that I went, I had some fish.
And going out to eat is a lot less expensive than back home. Like, we could go out and have a couple of drinks and dinner, and sometimes even dessert, for about $60 to $70, which for us, like when we're back home, we spend well over $100 every time we go out.
Easy.
So, and you could do it cheaper here if you do like street food, or you can go more expensive. But I would say the average is somewhere between probably $50 and $70.
So another pro tip that you should know is to always have some cash on hand.
Cash is definitely king in Baja, and it's really important that you are paying attention to how much cash you have and where the next ATM is, because not every town has a working ATM. We learned that the hard way. We had to drive an hour back to an ATM in order to be able to pay in Mulahay. So definitely something to pay attention to. We use cash probably more than we had to. Again, it's just like this, like, it's finding this balance between being careful and being scammed. I don't know. So I'm sure you don't have to do that, but we use cash a lot. And the ATMs can be a little finicky. We talk a little bit more about that in our whole video about chores, so you can check that out too. We will link that up in the description as well, and you can kind of see the experience of going and visiting an ATM.
So there are many camping options that you can find in Baja. We chose to mostly stay at campgrounds and on the paid beaches just because we felt a little more safe there.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is actually probably one of the best parts of Baja, is just like you literally can pretty much park anywhere and camp, versus back home where like more and more places are putting up no overnight parking signs that we found. So whether it's the beach or on the side of a street, a lot of the places it's like pretty easy to park and sleep. iOverlander has been incredibly helpful here. Folks put the reviews of different places, especially places that you might get stuck. That was one of my biggest things I was concerned about, and why we didn't stay at some of the other like free camping spots, because I was so nervous about the van getting stuck in the sand and having no one to be able to pull us out. We brought all the things. I have a tire. We brought a air tire inflators so that we could lower the pressure in our tires to make it easier to drive on sand, and then like blow them back up. We brought a tow strap, and we brought shackles to be able to get towed out if we need to. Thankfully, again, we haven't had to use those, but that was like one of my biggest fears. So we there's probably more spots that we could have explored if we had four-wheel drive, or if I wasn't super scared about getting stuck in the sand. But overall, there's like lots of places. The campgrounds have, like, most of the campgrounds we've gone to have been like clean. They have nice bathrooms, so it was nice to like go get a shower, get charged up. And the beach spots you pay for them. There's no services here, but like this one has these palapas, which is great. And then we also had a couple really great free spots. So like we stayed in Tecolote, and that was totally free, and it was right on the beach and super beautiful. We stayed in Cabo Pulmo for free. So there were definitely some free spots in there as well. And you can kind of mix it up based on your preferences.
Here are some quick tips that you might want to keep in mind. So we are in the desert. The temperature changes very drastically day and night. So you want to carry some things that you can layer.
Yeah, and I think that happens throughout the year. We came from about February to April, and so we found the temperatures to be somewhere in the 70s, low 80s during the day, and then it would drop to the like high 50s to high 60s at night, depending when we got here till now. Now it's starting to warm up a little bit.
Another quick tip, don't talk to any timeshare people, because yeah, it's just a scam.
Yeah, you can watch that video up here. We have a lot of other videos. There's a whole playlist of videos where you can learn from our mistakes.
Another quick tip, there is not great cell service here. So we had to use our Starlink pretty often.
Yeah, I mean, maybe next year we would get the Telcel. I have Visible, and it's supposed to work in Baja, but it only really worked in La Paz and Cabo and like up by the border. And so next year we might invest in going to get a Telcel SIM card, because I think that would work still in like Loreto and a couple of the other cities, but still like out here on the beach, you're not getting cell service. So the Starlink has been super helpful, especially if you're someone who has to work online. I don't know how we would have done it without Starlink.
Yeah. We hope these tips have been helpful for you if you are thinking about exploring Baja on the road.
Yeah, and I think when I was doing the research, there were a lot of things that gave me anxiety and almost made me, I would not say not want to come. We were coming no matter what, but that I just got like very anxious about. And I think there is a healthy level of anxiety, but by doing your research, it helps you to be prepared for those things. So you're doing the first step by watching this video. I would also say, like, one of the things I'm reflecting on is in this first trip, we really like followed what other people have done, which is probably good for the first time, right? But I do think that made us maybe miss out on some things that we would have explored if we weren't just following kind of everybody else's path. And two, we went to some places or thought we were going to spend time in places because other people loved them, but they really weren't our vibe. So like, just remember that like everyone's different, and so you have to do your research and compare that to kind of like what you enjoy to find the spots that are really going to be your favorite spots. I'm glad we did the trek that we did, because I think now we know when we come back the spots we definitely want to go back to, and it'll give us some time to go explore some places that maybe we didn't get to this time.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to wrap this video up here, just like we're wrapping up our time in Baja.
Yeah.
We are going to be heading back home. By the time you see this video, we'll be back in the States tomorrow. So, and then you'll be able to follow along. We're going to Joshua Tree next.
Oh, yeah. I guess that is the last thing that you need to know, is that you're not going to want to leave.
Yeah, I literally could stay here forever. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, definitely click that like button, click that subscribe button, so you can continue to follow along as we figure out what it means to go slow down.